Just when you think the Democrats can't get any lower, oh, they go off and do something like put terrorists over our own military.
The unfortunate accident that occurred with the National Guardsman being killed.
You think that was an unfortunate accident?
I mean,
it was a terrorist.
No, wait. Look, I'll get it straight. Then you can.
He shot our National Guardsman in the head.
Look.
When someone shows you who they really are, believe them. We've got that and more coming up, so stay tuned. Welcome back to Sara Gonzales Unfiltered. We will get into Benny Thompson and his dumb comments. But first, many things are completely broken within the legal system in our country, particularly when an illegal alien is given more power than the president of the United States. And today I'm talking about, good old Maryland father. The Maryland father, if you're listening to the mainstream media, to the CNNs and the MSNBCs of the world, they will be telling you about this poor Maryland father, Kilmar Abrego Garcia. Now, they'll put up this picture of him and they'll talk about how he's a Maryland father, and they'll leave out the fact that he is, of course, an alleged MS-13 gang member and human trafficker. He's just a Maryland father. I mean, it's just there's like minor details of gang-related activity and minor details of human trafficking. But look, he's just you just look at him and you're like, he's definitely is from Maryland. That's where he was born and raised, Maryland. Remember him? It's been such a journey with Kilmar Abrego Garcia. Of course, when we attempted to send him back to El Salvador, they said, no. The Democrats were very mad. No, you can't be sending people back from where they came. We must keep the gang members here. And then when we sent him there, you had Democrats going and sipping margaritas with him. It's been a long journey with Kilmar Abrego Garcia, but he, of course, was released from immigration detention yesterday back into the United States. And federal judge Paula Zinese, I don't know how you say that. What you need to know is an Obama-appointed judge said federal authorities had detained him again after his return to the United States without any legal basis. You mean to tell me, Mrs. Obama-appointed judge, that there is not a legal basis to detain an illegal immigrant? That's the legal basis. He's here illegally, and we need to detain him so we can remove him. Otherwise, why have any laws at all? But that's not even the craziest part. She has also granted him, this Obama-appointed judge, has also granted this man more power than the president, that he can't be locked up again. We are not allowed to lock him up. We are not allowed to keep Americans safe from this criminal. Here's the headline. Federal judge issues order to prohibit immigration officials from detaining Kilmar Abrego Garcia until the court conducts a hearing on the motion for the temporary restraining order, which his lawyers filed to stop him from being arrested again. What is this country, you guys? What is this country if we can't arrest and detain criminals? Have you ever heard of an American citizen getting this treatment? Oh, you committed a crime? Oh, we're going to arrest you and we're going to what? Detain you. That's how it works for every American who commits crimes in this country. And now all of a sudden, we are rolling out the red carpet for this illegal who is he's like herpes. You can't ever get rid of him. You try and he just keeps coming back. And on top of that, people are treating him as a hero. They are literally, this is so crazy. There were people chanting, "We are Kilmar." Okay, you guys are all illegals. ICE, where are you at? They're making it very easy. It's like shooting fish in a barrel. They're saying they're all illegal, I guess. And he was there to address he's a rock star. He's there to address his adoring fans.
Estoy aquí como un hombre libre. Y siempre recuérdenme así, con la cabeza en alto.
I stand before you as a free man. and I want you to remember me this way, with my head held up high.
Ella yo la llevo en mi corazón y en mi alma.
I thank God for all the freedom fighters he has put in my life.
Oh, the freedom fighters.
My life partner and wife, Jennifer. Even though she is not here today, I know she is with me in spirit.
Sure. So, he can't even speak English because, duh. Like, why would he do that? Why would he try to speak English? We make it so easy for him not speaking English. He gets to hold press conferences with his adoring fans while not speaking English and being illegal. Why would he learn English? Now, I find it very strange that they mentioned his wife isn't there. He is a very loving, doting Maryland father. It's kind of weird. Anywho, I'm sure it's nothing. I just wanted also to point out, he seems to be rubbing it in that he continues to wear his gang paraphernalia. We've gone over his tattoos and how they are all connected to the MS-13 gang, but so is the Chicago Bulls logo that was on his hat. That right there is it's like a little wink, wink, nudge, nudge symbol that MS-13 gang members use to identify themselves. And that combined with the tattoos, I'm just saying, it's kind of strange. Like this guy that's just a Maryland father, he's from Maryland, would be a big Chicago Bulls fan. Isn't that interesting? Now, during his little speech there to all of his fans, he, of course, decided to take some shots at President Trump.
Sobre todas las injusticias que ha hecho este gobierno.
I stand here today with my head held up high, and I will continue to fight and stand firm against all of the injustices this government has done upon me.
Justicia que se ha hecho, vamos a llegar a su fin.
Regardless of this administration, I believe this is a country of laws, and I believe that this injustice will come to its end.
Isn't it so crazy? Like they all of a sudden, when it benefits them, believe that this is a country of laws. Like, yes, that's the whole point, Kilmar. This is supposed to be a country of laws. Laws which you repeatedly broke. Laws that you didn't care about when you were coming here illegally. So strike one, you came here illegally. That is, of course, against the law. That is an injustice. You want to talk about injustice? That is an injustice to American citizens. And strike two, by the way, you are accused of human smuggling.
Anything good? You got a bunch of people in here, don't you?
It's 1 for shit. Yes. Go back to work.
Gotcha.
He's hauling these people for money is what he's doing. But sometimes they commingle dope.
No. But
There's 8 people in there.
Yeah, I know. I didn't know that. They put an extra row of seats in there.
Yeah. So he's getting paid to all these people, probably to Maryland, I would say.
Strike three, you are, as I mentioned, a validated gang member. And by the way, according to court documents, you also solicited nude photos of a minor. He's just a Maryland father. By the way, you apparently beat your wife. I guess that explains why she wasn't there at your big release party. Okay, that was strike one, strike two, strike three. You're out. You're out. Okay? So with the totality of everything that this man has done, how is it that we live in a country in which a judge thinks that this particular judge's mind, feelings, matter more than American law? How is it possible that we can't just lock him up and then deport him? That makes absolutely no sense. It makes no sense. The government was already getting their ducks in a row. Then they said, well, you can't send him back to El Salvador where he's from because it's too scary there. It was too scary. And here's what he said. I kid you not. The reason why they had previously said years ago that he couldn't go back to El Salvador was because, well, there were a lot of gangs there. There were a lot of gangs. There was a lot of crime. And in fact, that gang crime had infiltrated into his mother's pupusa stand. Yeah. These gang members, they were just terrorizing his innocent mom for no reason, I'm sure. I'm sure it had nothing to do with the fact that he was, of course, in a gang. And there are gang rivalries all the time wherever there are gangs. I'm sure it had nothing to do with that. These gang members just decided, we hate the pupusas. We're just going to terrorize this poor woman and her pupusa stand. And that was why we were told he couldn't go back to El Salvador. Well, I've got news for all of these judges. El Salvador is safe now. It turns out you can just lock up criminals and you can just get the illegals out of your country. You can just have law and order on the streets. You can just have that. That is exactly what El Salvador has turned itself into. Okay? So this little, oh no, I can't go back. I'm scared for my life if I go back to El Salvador, which is where I'm from, really doesn't apply anymore, does it? We could just ship him back again, and it's okay. You don't have to give us a thank you. I understand. Like you're not gonna give us a thank you. That's fine. That's fine. It's a thankless job sending criminals back to where they came from. But we're not allowed to send him back now. So they were working on a final deportation order to send him somewhere else because they were told, the federal government was told they were not allowed to send him back from where he came, which is already crazy. I don't actually care where you come from. If you come here and commit crimes, that's kind of a, sorry, it sucks that you escaped all this gang violence to come here and then be a stain on our society. But that's kind of not my problem. You're going home. But they were told they couldn't. So they were looking Uganda, Eswatini, Ghana, Liberia. There were a bunch of places on the table. But who wants to take in someone else's trash? Who wants to take in someone else's criminal? You have to have the country's agreement. We can't just ship a bunch of illegals over there. So it becomes a very seedy situation when you have these rogue activist judges that think that they can supersede the president and supersede law and order. And his lawyer, Kilmar Abrego Garcia's lawyer, seems to think that they're going to finally be able to get him refugee status, actually.
This case is about two things, really. It's about a man, a father,
there's
sheet
father.
metal worker, his wife, Jennifer, U.S. citizen, who's been fighting for him tooth and nail.
Oh, yeah.
His
is that before or after he beat the shit out of
autistic child.
Oh.
They're an hour away from seeing each other again for the second time all year, right? But he's now got new legal options as well, right? He now has an open runway to apply for asylum in the United States.
Guys, if this man gets asylum, we are just we're not a serious country and we're never going to be. We're never going to be a serious country if a man like that can get asylum. And it's so cute that his lawyer wants to go on CNN and talk about he's a father. He's a father of an autistic child. He has a wife that's an American citizen. None of that is my problem. It's not my problem that he has an autistic child. That's sad. So, I would welcome the autistic child to go with him. As Tom Homan said, families can be deported together. His wife, Jennifer, welcome to go with him as well. That is a whole lot of not my problem. It really doesn't matter. In fact, again, if anyone wants to say that that is sad or that is unfortunate or anything like that, that's totally understandable. But you have to place the blame directly at the feet of the man who came here illegally and knew that he was doing it. He broke our laws coming into this country. He broke our laws when he committed crimes on U.S. soil. And the idea that he could get away with it scot-free, the idea that we cannot eliminate illegal criminals from our country is laughable and embarrassing. If we cannot deport illegal criminals from our country, we are not a serious country. Now is the time. Now is the time. I don't know any other time in which the president has been given such runway by the American people. Go do all of the things you said you were going to do, the biggest of which is deport all of the criminals. I have to believe that we do not live in a system in which these rogue judges can supersede the will of the American people. If that's the country that we live in, we have way more serious problems. Make sure that you subscribe to Sara Gonzales Unfiltered. Hit the bell. It might give you notifications. It might not, because there's a lot of funny business going on behind the scenes at YouTube. But, try it and see what happens. Smash the like button and comment. It'll help us in the algorithm, which we all know is stacked against us. Going to get back into it. But first, I want to thank our sponsor, Flying Ace. So Flying Ace is, listen, you've still got time probably to go get your Flying Ace before the holidays, but you need to do it like today. And I would recommend it if you have these big family gatherings, if maybe you're going to your in-laws' house and you're not don't really love your in-laws maybe. If that's you need Flying Ace bourbon. It will make those holiday get-togethers just a little bit easier to get through. And I'm telling you, when you drink Flying Ace, you are drinking a whiskey, a bourbon from a company it's an American company. These are American-grown grains, and it's delicious. We drink it exclusively at my house, over at home. The kids don't drink it. But the adults do. You can go to flyingacespirits.com, use promo code BLAZE for free shipping. This is an American company who supports American values. Go check them out and buy delicious whiskey. Flyingacespirits.com, promo code BLAZE. Something that we talk about quite often on the show, only because we have to, because the Democrats make it so that we have to talk about it, is the way in which they continue to gaslight the American people. Now, you would think that they would have learned their lesson after the last election. The American people were done with being gaslit, but they seemingly haven't. And instead, they just try to double and triple down on gaslighting us and trying to trick us into believing that there are things that are happening that don't actually exist. That's not happening. Remember the cycle of no, that's not happening. But okay, eventually they'll say, well, yes, this is happening, but let me tell you why it's good, right? That's just kind of the Democrat cycle. But for now, there are a couple different things happening right now that they're just no, this is just a figment of your imagination. It's not actually happening. Take the narco-terrorists, for example, okay? They are really bothered that the Trump administration is blowing up these boats full of narco-terrorists who have drugs. That's the narcotics. That's where the narco comes from, Democrats. Just in case you were unclear on that. I know it's a big word and you guys have problems with big words. Narco is because they have drugs. Terrorists is because they are coming with intention to kill and harm American citizens. And even though we have all of the evidence to show that all of these things are true, the Democrats are here to tell you there's actually, there's no narco-terrorists. Narco-terrorists actually don't exist.
There is no such thing as a narco-terrorist. There are very, very bad narcotics people, cartels, etc., but they're desperate to make this look like it's ISIS or al-Qaeda because that's the very thin line on which their illegal use of the United States military to take these people out resides.
I mean, what a weak person, what a weak idea that we can only call it terrorism. We can only call it terrorism if it's Al-Qaeda or ISIS. We can only call it terrorism if it's Al-Qaeda or ISIS. Otherwise, that's not actually narco-terrorism is not a thing. I don't know. All I know is that I don't want Venezuelans driving boats with drugs to kill Americans to be able to succeed. And I would question any Democrat who would defend that. Right? This is actually such an insane idea. There's narco-terrorism is not a thing? Since when? We've used this term for a long time. By the way, some very prominent members of your own party, sir, have been using this term for a very long time. And in fact, your own party used to believe that this was a bad idea until you guys went off the rails. And I'd like to show you one of the most prominent members of your party who was, turns out, the president of the United States not so long ago, who was saying this about narco-terrorists.
We speak with great concern about the drug problem in America today. but we fail to appreciate or address it for what it really is. The number one threat to our national security. America is under attack, literally, under attack by an enemy who is well-financed, well-supplied, and well-armed, and fully capable of declaring total war against the nation and its people. Quite frankly, the president's plan's not tough enough, bold enough, or imaginative enough to meet the crisis at hand. Let's go after the drug lords where they live, with an international strike force. There must be no safe haven for these narco-terrorists, and they must know it.
What? Hold on. What was that again, Joe?
There must be no safe haven for these narco-terrorists, and they must know it.
So apparently, narco-terrorists and narco-terrorism, that was all a thing in 1989. And by the way, even the Democrat Party, leaders of the Democrat Party agreed that these people, he literally said we should hit them where they are. And now all of a sudden, it's like they went extinct. It's like dinosaurs. They were narco-terrorists in 1989, and then they went extinct. And no one ever saw a narco-terrorist again. All we have to know that there ever were narco-terrorists that ever lived and walked the face of the earth are fossils. Because it just poof, like magic, went away. It went away. And so you watch these old clips of these old, dinosaurs, for lack of a better term, who have been in the party for so long. And you're like, you guys actually made sense in 1989. Joe Biden actually made sense in 1989. He was saying like very moderate, reasonable things in 1989. What happened? Well, I mean, on top of the senility, I would say, the dementia, I would say, he and so many others have been radicalized by the far left of their own party. And I want to give you another point on that. Speaking of all of these far left radicals, here's another way that they're trying to gaslight us. Antifa. Antifa is another group that Democrats are trying to say, that's not a real Antifa's not a real thing. It's not a real thing. That doesn't exist. What do you tell? Those are just people who enjoy wearing all black. That's just people who enjoy wearing black fatigues and like gamer headsets because the wind hurts their ears. It's like the mental gymnastics you have to go through to try to say that Antifa doesn't exist. I want to play for you Representative Benny Thompson from Mississippi during a recent hearing with DHS.
So where is Antifa headquartered?
What we're doing right now with the organization.
Where in the United States does Antifa exist? Yeah. If it's a terrorist organization and you've identified it as number one.
We are building out the infrastructure right now.
So what does that mean? We're trying to get the information. You say Antifa is a terrorist organization. Tell us as a committee, how did you come to that? Where do they exist? How many members do they have in the United States as of right now?
Well, that's very fluid. It's ongoing for us to understand that. The same, no different than Al-Qaeda and ISIS.
No, I don't want you. I'll ask one question, sir. I just want you to tell us. If you said Antifa is the number one domestic terrorist organization operating in the United States, I just need to know where they are, how many people. Sir, you wouldn't come to this committee and say something you can't prove. I know you wouldn't do that. But you did.
The most maddening thing about this particular exchange is the level of condescension from this congressman, when in actuality, if he wants to apply that same logic to, he's like, well, where's their HQ? Can you pull up on a map where their HQ is? Like, I don't know. Can you pull up on a map where ISIS HQ is, where Al-Qaeda's HQ is? Where all of these like terrorists who are going and committing crimes and yelling Allahu Akbar and killing one National Guardsman and wounding another. Like, do they have an HQ? Do they have a clubhouse that they go hang out at? Does that mean that they don't exist? Of course not. They're committing the crimes. They clearly exist. We've got the crime rates to prove it. They have to have like a mailing address for us to talk about the threat that there is? Of course not. He would never suggest that for any other terrorist group. But now all of a sudden you need to have an HQ and you need to have a mailing address. And if you don't have an HQ, you don't count. Like, how absolutely absurd. And on top of that, it's very maddening personally for me because I have stood face to face with Antifa. In fact, way closer than I would have liked to have gotten, right in front of Antifa. Like, I've spent time with Antifa. I know they exist. I'm out on the streets actually doing real work, Benny Thompson. I'm actually getting the footage, Benny Thompson. What the hell are you doing other than sitting on your fat ass in Congress trying to convince the American people that Antifa doesn't exist? And if Antifa doesn't exist, Benny Thompson, then please explain to me why Antifa was interviewed and talked about themselves. This is, hold on. The clip that I'm about to show you is just a figment of your imagination, actually.
I'm Milo, and I'm a member of Rose City Antifa. I'm Ace, and I'm a member of Rose City Antifa.
Along with these pseudonyms, they've asked us to frame their faces in shadow and alter their voices.
The use of violence is a tactic of how we keep our communities safe.
They say they're members of the nation's oldest active Antifa group.
We see ourselves as engaging in self-defense from groups who want to do our community harm, whose ideology is the ideology of genocide and mass murder. So in a sense of reaction, we see fascism as an inherently violent ideology. So when we disrupt its organizing, we see that as self-defense.
That was just AI, actually. I'm sure that was just AI. It's not Antifa doesn't exist. Ha ha ha. It doesn't actually exist. Joke's on you. None of this is true. None of this is real. Antifa doesn't exist because it doesn't have an HQ. Like, get the out of here. Get out of here. By the way, we're not going to be lectured on terrorists and terrorism by the same dipshit who called the terror attack on 2 National Guardsmen an unfortunate accident, Benny.
Madam Secretary, you and the gentleman from NCTC reference the unfortunate accident that occurred with the National Guardsmen being killed.
You think that was an unfortunate accident?
I mean,
it was a terrorist.
No, wait. Look, I'll get it straight.
Dismissal.
Then you can
he shot our National Guardsman in the head.
Look, Mr. Chairman, will you direct the witness to allow me to ask my question?
Look, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. The man just accidentally ambushed them, and he accidentally shot them multiple times. He just accidentally killed a young woman. Oopsies, his gun met her and her head. Oops, just an unfortunate accident. I mean, these people are unbelievable. They have absolutely no shame, and they should be mocked greatly, actually. I fully believe in it because it doesn't seem like anything else is going to get through those noggins there. There's a lot of bone. Turns out nothing else. Okay. All right. Want to thank our sponsor this segment and then bring on our panel, PreBorn. So I'm asking you guys if you have any tax-deductible donation to make before the end of the year. This Christmas, for $28, you can help save a life. And that's exactly what PreBorn is doing because they're taking these scared mothers who have unplanned pregnancies and they are showing them the truth. It's an ultrasound. That's all they need to see. And in that moment, that woman is twice as likely to choose life. Right now, there's a special matching grant and your gift will be doubled. So now is the time to donate, knowing that however much you donate is going to be doubled. You're going to save double the babies' lives. Go to preborn.com/Sara. $28 is the cost of an ultrasound. How many babies' lives can you save? preborn.com/Sara. Welcome to the show. We have Matthew Marsden, Blaze TV contributor and actor and producer extraordinaire, along with the beautiful Breanna Morello. She is, of course, host of the American Journal on InfoWars. And it's good to have you, my friend.
To be back.
You're always,
in a while.
Yeah, because you're always gone in Austin.
I know. It's a rough one. It's really rough.
It is. I'm always like, why Does Alex Jones want to be in Austin?
I'm trying to sell him on Dallas.
I know. Austin is not a good time, but either way, we're happy that you're here.
Thank you.
So Jasmine Crockett obviously made the disastrous decision to run for Senate here in the state of Texas. I guess she doesn't understand that the majority of Texas is not like her district. Not quite the same demographics as her district who voted for her. And so she's running for Senate, and she is off to what I believe to be a great start. She shouldn't think it's a great start. I think it's great. Already burying herself in sound bites that we can use against her. And she was on Joy Reid's podcast. And she and Joy Reid had this to say about President Trump's rally.
She married her brother to get in. Therefore, she's here illegally. She should get the hell out. Throw her the hell out. She does nothing but complain.
It was giving Klan rally. First of all, he's lying about Ilhan Omar. It's disgusting. I'm assuming that the attacks on you will be very similarly vicious. But I wanted to give you just your thoughts on that Klan rally moment.
I think you summarized it.
It's giving Klan rally, Breanna.
I mean, they're just so outrageous, right? And we know that Ilhan Omar did marry her brother, so let's stop pretending like that actually happened. She doesn't even deny it when you ask her. That's first and foremost. I think the best thing that happened to those who actually work on content in the content space was Jasmine Crockett announcing that she wants to run for U.S. Senate. This is going well for us because we have these endless sound bites of her stupidity. Also going to go really well for Ken Paxton and all of this. But this is what they do. They do the race baiting thing, and they think this is going to bring them over the edge. The reality of it, though, is, President Trump won Texas in 2024 with over 56% of the vote. And she thinks somehow that she doesn't have to win over Trump supporters and she's going to win the Senate seat. There's nothing in that girl's head that actually adds up.
Yeah, that's what we went through the math the other day because, she did, to Breanna's point, Matt, she did say, no, I don't need Trump voters. And it's like, President Trump just won by a larger margin than any Republican had won in Texas since 2012. That math ain't mathin', girlfriend. You're going to have to get some Trump voters. And there is there's no world in which there is a Trump/Crockett voter.
Well, are you saying that she's not very smart, Sara?
Well, all I'm saying is that she also decided to announce her Senate campaign by using a video in which President Trump just calls her low IQ.
Genius.
Exactly. It shows how stupid she is. I mean, look, the one thing that I've always said about Democrats is that they will push stars, right? They did it with AOC. Whatever you think of her, she is a star. They're looking at Gavin Newsom. I mean, they can't run on their achievements at all. I mean, Newsom is a complete disaster. But at least they do have some kind of redeeming qualities about them. Like they have some kind of X factor about them, whether or not you like it or not. This woman has absolutely nothing, zero. And if you were to look, you couldn't put two more unlikable people on camera than those two that we just saw. It's going to go horribly for her. But here's the thing. The Democrats play the long game. Mm-hmm. She is actually angling for a job on MSNBC. Or whatever.
I actually agree. I do agree with you. I do think I think that it's a quick cash grab because she knows that there are Democrats from other places. It was the same thing as Beto O'Rourke, right? Like he knew he wasn't going to win. He raised a lot of outside money from other states. And then at the end of the day, he was a 3-time loser in this state before he went in to go get some cush. I think he's like a professor now, some cush professor gig. It definitely feels like Jasmine Crockett is angling towards, she knows you would think she knows there's no path, but also she's just really dumb, Matt. So I don't even know which one it is. But you mentioned how insufferable these people are. Unlikable, I think was the term you used. Let me give you a clip of Joy Reid and Jasmine Crockett. It's just the narcissism for me.
A lot of people have to go through, introduce themselves, talk about what it is that they're going to do, talk about how it is that they are. Like, people have been watching me for years, and so they know who I am. And so as far as building the rapport, my rapport will be I'll need to build my rapport and build support amongst people that maybe haven't been paying attention to politics. And frankly, we've been able to go into so many of those spaces as well to communicate to people, because people have told me, they're like, my such and such don't do politics, but they know who you are, right?
She may want to check like the favorability of that name ID, because I'd venture to guess, Breanna, yes, we know who you are. No, we're not happy about that.
Well, remember when she came out and she said, oh, Trump supporters come up to me at the airport and they tell me how much they love me. The only time a Trump supporters ever come up to her was this girl right here. And it wasn't love. It wasn't love that she was getting from Sara. She lives in her own delusional space. She's pretending like she's loved. The fact that her announcement video was focused just on her face, it was so horrendous that even Jake Tapper had to call her out on CNN. And she's like, oh, we're just trying something different. These videos are supposed to be about your constituents, the people you're supposed to serve, because you are a public servant, not about you, not about yourself. That's all she makes it about, though. It's all about Jasmine Crockett.
Right. How about throw out like a policy? Throw out a platform. Tell us what you're going to do to like help the state of Texas.
Too much work. It's too much work. I'd rather just sit there and let her glue on her eyelashes, her wigs every day, and just let her go out there and do her freak show.
And do her little TikTok videos and, run her foul mouth in Congress, which... Okay, guilty as charged, but I also don't represent Congress. And if I did, I wouldn't, speak like that because it's just, I think that Congress used to be this like prestigious, esteemed position. And now you've got, the Democrats, you've got Jasmine Crockett out there with her head on a swivel, and you've got John Fetterman wearing sweats. It's like, golly, how far we have fallen.
Well, we say this about Zelensky as well, don't we? If you are going to go and represent your country by going to the most powerful political entity in the world, which is Congress, or to the White House, put on a shirt and tie. Right. I know that might sound stupid, but put on a shirt and tie. But again, she has no self-awareness. She doesn't understand that people coming up to her, let's just say there were MAGA coming up and saying, I love Jasmine Crockett for completely different reasons. Right. It's not a compliment, darling.
I endorsed her for the Democrat primary.
100%.
I fully endorse Jasmine Crockett for the Democrat primary. I'm not voting in it.
It's the gift that keeps on giving, though, isn't it? Like, we want her out there. It's like that's not a good thing, darling. Yeah. This is because she doesn't have the ability to discern the difference between what clicks mean and what they don't mean. So, if you're getting a bunch of clicks, they're not necessarily good. If you have people saying we love you, it's not necessarily a good thing for you, as you're saying. So, but she lacks this awareness. And because at the end of the day, as you said, it's all about her. It's got nothing to do. They used to say there's all news is good news. And we would say as moral people, actually, no, I don't want my private life splashed all over National Enquirer or whatever. To them, they don't care. As long as it's got clicks, as long as there's visibility, it doesn't matter. And you say, Sarah, we've got to get back to the things that matter. Like, I cannot say one thing about her. I cannot tell you one policy. Well, I can't tell you one policy that the Democrats have at all anyway, especially not that Muppet. I mean,
the entirety of it is summed up in Donald Trump bad.
Yeah.
That is their policy. Donald Trump bad, and whatever Donald Trump does, we do the opposite.
Yeah. And she loves the fact, Sarah, that the fact that President Trump calls her out, the fact that he calls her low IQ, stupid, and he goes after her for that. That's not endearing of a candidate at all. How about you talk about the great things that you've done for your constituents? And there's nothing adds up, nothing. There was all these reports coming out about her too. This was probably earlier this year, where her staffers were saying how unbearable she was, how she doesn't go to work, she doesn't go into the office.
I'm so shocked to hear she'd be insufferable, Breanna.
I know. And then you see her on these committee assignments, and they're having like serious conversations, and she's screaming at everyone, screaming at MTG, calling her names, and it's just like, lady, buckle down. But it's the Jasmine Crockett show, no one else.
Yeah, clearly she thinks that that's going to win her the Senate. Did you guys see, because to your point, Matt, I do think it feels a whole lot like she's on MSNBC all the time. It feels like she's angling for that. But did you guys see the story? I talked about it earlier this week. There was a story that came out that said that the National Republican Senatorial Committee actually like astroturfed a whole bunch of polling and a whole bunch of efforts to call her office and ask her to run for Senate. Like, they tried to make it look like there was all this organic support for her to run for Senate, and it actually was all the NRSC. Did you guys see this? I was like, Oh my gosh, they astroturfed the whole thing. There was this big article on it. I'll send it to you guys. It was really incredible to read.
That's awesome. Well, that reminds me of when she was on Jake Tapper's show before she announced, and she's like, we've got our polling data in, and if it's Ken Paxton and I'm taking him on, the numbers look good. He's like, oh, what numbers can you share it with us? They look good, Jake. I'll let you know after Thanksgiving.
Yeah, it's like, I don't think your sources, please. Receipts. We're gonna need you to cite your sources, Jazz. All right, let's go ahead and take a quick break. We'll be back with more, but want to thank new sponsor of the show, the Center for Academic Faithfulness and Flourishing. Yes, everyone knows that college is obviously it's a major investment, so it's really important to do your research. You want to find a school that shares your values, but who has time to dig through? I mean, there's a lot of colleges. There's a lot of college websites. You don't have time to dig through it. So today I've got great news for you. There's a free, easy-to-use resource that does all of that work for you. It's called ChristianCollegeGuide.com. It has over 250 Christian colleges and universities. So it's a one-stop shop for you. You can go to ChristianCollegeGuide.com. It will list all of the basics like acceptance rates, tuition costs, and academic majors. But here is what makes it really stand out. They're going to show you the school's faith commitments, its campus policies, and its spiritual life. All of this info that obviously is going to help you find a college that you can trust, especially with all of the, they're so woke. They're so woke. This is the definitive guide to Christian higher education, and it's totally free. So if you or someone you know is considering college, go to ChristianCollegeGuide.com to create a free user profile. Get started today. Go to ChristianCollegeGuide.com. Democrats, speaking of how terrible they are, they just continue pushing this trans propaganda, and they're very proud of that because, as I mentioned earlier, Donald Trump bad. Anything he says bad, we will do the opposite. And Gavin Newsom is now, obviously I think, you guys tell me if you think I'm wrong, he has 2028 aspirations in the Democrat Party, right? Obviously, he is the front runner. He's angling for that. I think he would have been very happy if he was the candidate this last go around instead of Kamala. But he is bragging that he is the most pro-trans governor in the country. And actually, it's so absurd. He says he actually wants to see more. We need more trans kids out there.
We didn't get into trans sports. That's an issue no one wants to hear about because 80% of the people listening disagree with my position on this. But it comes from my heart, not just my head. It wasn't a political evolution. It was position being that I don't think it's. I want to see trans kids. I have a trans godson. There's no governor that's signed more pro-trans legislation than I have, and no one has been a stronger advocate for the LGBTQ community.
It's in his heart.
He
just wants more trans kids. He just wants more kids being sterilized. He wants more kids being mutilated. He loves that, truly, in his heart of hearts. And I'm going to go to you, Matt, first, because you are, of course, a California refugee, and you have a lot of experience with Gavin Newsom's policies. And does it surprise you at all? Doesn't care at all about the high cost of housing, about, the shit in the streets, about anything that really would affect average Californians' lives, but he wants more trans kids.
So sincere.
Yeah.
That's what I love about him. He's such a good guy. He's totally not one of the reasons why I left the communist state of California.
You and many others, I will point out, in like a mass exodus.
A lot, and he's squarely responsible for it, to be honest, with his policies. I mean, this is just not a winner. And I hate to state the obvious, but I think that what we've seen is a seismic shift because I don't think that any of the policies that the Democrats have been pushing for the past 10 years have really been winners. I think that they've cheated. I think they've lied and they've stole. And now I would like to, or I'd hope to think that you saw, I think it was Tom Fitton come out the other day and say he's just cleaned a lot of, I think like 3 million people or something off the voter records. So I don't think that it's the slam dunk that he thinks it is through cheating. I think they used to be able to come out and say this garbage just because it was different. Because when let's face it, when the politicos put it up, they're like, this is the Republican Party's stance on this, and this is the Democrats' party's. And they want to be opposite for the most part. Well, that's what they have been for a long time. Like say, that's what Donald Trump says, I'm going to do the opposite. And they used to get away with that because they could cheat and steal. Mm-hmm. And now I don't think they can. So I think he's going to crater anyway. He's thoroughly unlikable. He looks like a villain from some horror movie. He looks like he's a bad Dracula. I think that's what we should start calling him, like bad Dracula. I think this is a non-starter. And look, he was dismantled by Ron DeSantis. You think that J.D. Vance isn't going to just wipe the floor with him in any debate? It's ridiculous.
So to Matt's point, we actually have a great clip, Breanna, of President Trump kind of talking about like all of these terrible policies. Here's that.
Many of you in Congress worked very hard, both sides, this year to keep the promises that you were elected on and to deliver big wins for the American people, and Democrats worked very hard too. I mean, I think you could get rid of a couple of your little policies like men and women's sports, open borders, transgender for everybody. But other than that, I like what you're doing.
It's like, other than literally all of the things that you're pushing, you're great.
I love how Gavin Newsom opened up, though, admitting that, oh, yeah, the majority of Americans actually don't agree with me on my transgender take. 80% don't, but I'm just such a good-hearted person that I'm going to keep running this into the ground and hope that this catches mainstream and everyone really kind of gathers behind it. It's so absurd. If he runs in 2028, Ron DeSantis has to, whoever's the Republican candidate, has to lend over that poop map. We need the poop map on stage so we can all look at what's been going on lately. Because, listen, that's his greatest legacy. I mean, that's what most Americans know him for, is absolutely destroying California, creating this homelessness crisis, throwing more money into it that we can't account for, of course, and doing this whole game. And there was just recently an article that came out, Suzanne Crabtree, who's been mapping where all this money's going. His wife's been working on a film regarding transgender, whatever it is, the gender beliefs that they all have in California. And the money is just very questionable as to what's being shuffled around for these schools that are having to pay these fees to play it at their schools. So she's examining that. But the reality of it is, if Gavin Newsom runs for president, man, oh man, it's not going to go over well for him. I don't think they could cover up for him.
No, I don't think so either, which is why I kind of want it to happen. What's the app? Is it called Snapcrap? That would have. I'm serious. I
report poop.
Yeah, it was like the poop where they could like report the poop in California. I'm pretty sure it's called Snapcrap. Did you ever download that app?
I didn't. But you know what's funny about that? You heard him just say, didn't he just say the equivalent of, I have a black friend, so I'm not racist. Like, I have a transgender godson.
Yeah, that like... Well, I'm also like, I just hate this so much because I just want it. So I guess it's a girl? Like it's a female?
Don't you dare. Don't you dare misgender that child.
I'm just like, I just,
you're falling
now you've
for
lost
it.
me. I just want to know.
It's they.
Zer. I don't, it makes it too confusing. That's all I have to say.
You know, government employee and an email address actually had put their preferred email, their pronouns in their email signature. This was when I was requesting FOIA request the other day. And I actually wrote her back by saying, why are your pronouns in your email signature? You work for the government. You work for the people. Fix it.
I love it. We should find out who her superior, like whoever the cabinet head is.
I'm on it.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know why I even said that as if she wasn't already 20 steps ahead of what I just said. Well, I appreciate both of you guys. Matthew Marsden, make sure to check him out on YouTube. Breanna, where should everyone check you out?
InfoWars every morning.
InfoWars, they stream it as well on X, so go there, check her out. We'll see you guys Monday.